I just completed my Donkey Kong Takara set of figurines. Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here with my wife Ivory.
Hi!
And she's going to be my Donkey Kong expert. And essentially what we're doing is we're talking about this complete set of 8 figures brought to you by Takara. So that's pretty exciting. Now, I already had some of these in my collection, and I was looking through the ones that I was missing, particularly these 2 back here that are, I think, Crusha and Clump, and I was missing a few of the other ones anyway. So I found this series, I found this set on an eBay Australia. It was up for $200. I did not pay that much. I made a best offer of roughly $160, which means I got each of these for $20 each. So before we go into the video, I must say that these are like 20 years old, and they're actually really hard to find. So if you're trying to find them, check eBay. Complete sets don't go up very often. Some of them are really common. I would say, like, I think Cranky Kong and Dixie Kong are probably the most common, but other characters like the villains are actually really hard to find. Some of them sell for $40 each, so that's crazy. Alright, let's actually get into what these characters are and what they're all about, because what is your favorite series of video games, probably? What's your favorite video game on the Super Nintendo, actually?
Donkey Kong Country!
And Donkey Kong Country I actually put into the Super Nintendo back here, and I also put Donkey Kong 64 in over there. But Donkey Kong Country, what a good game.
So much fun.
We played through that a lot.
Probably the first game that I ever played on a home console.
Ever?
Yeah.
That's a good tidbit to know, actually. That's really cool.
Pretty sure.
Alright, so who was the protagonist of your Donkey Kong Country games that we played together?
Donkey Kong!
Donkey Kong. Let's start with this guy right here. So he looks kind of cool. What do you think about his face, though?
He's a little bit creepy.
What's creepy about him, though? Like,
just his eyes. I mean, the mouth is pretty good, but the eyes, they kind of follow you everywhere you go.
It's kind of like Luigi's death stare. This thing kind of looks terrifying sometimes. So he is pretty detailed. His fur looks absolutely fantastic, just to give you an overview of this guy right away. This is not my favorite Donkey Kong figure, though, but it is kind of posable. His arms move, both of them. His head moves, and he can just stare at you while he tilts his head, I guess, all the way around. So he could do that.
Maybe it is really accurate to Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying. His tie is not movable like other figures, though, but it does pop off quite a bit. So if you're wondering the size of these figures, I might as well do that now as well. Donkey Kong's almost 5 inches tall, and the shortest one, I think, is Cranky, and he's almost 4 inches tall. So they're decent size. They're roughly the size of Amiibo, but they're much, much thicker than that, actually, in most cases. So let's go to the next one. Who's Donkey Kong's main man?
Diddy Kong!
Diddy Kong. What's Diddy Kong do in the game?
He's the sidekick, and he helps you out if Donkey Kong dies.
So you release Diddy Kong from a barrel, obviously, and it kind of gives you a second chance. So again, this one is pretty detailed, the fur especially, and I don't think this one has as much detail as my other figures, though. Especially his hat looks really plain.
Yeah, I agree. Hat and shirt both look pretty plain.
Yeah, I think we're expecting a bit more detail, but maybe these are the models of the show from Donkey Kong Country? I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure.
This one's arms move. His midriff, I think, moves. Yes, that moves as well. His head does not, though, and there is a small red mark right there that he has on himself as well, but that's pretty cool. Alright, who's next? Who's your next character you want to talk
Cranky Kong!
Cranky Kong. What's Cranky do in the games?
Cranky's the one that gives you all the advice.
So Cranky's the one you can go to, and he'll give you some sort of information that will help you out through the game. I think he looks pretty cool. His facial expression is absolutely hilarious with his glasses on.
His beard looks great.
His beard looks good, even though it's not a real beard. I have another figure that actually has a real beard, but it's pretty well done. His ears even have detail, and what he's wearing, I'm not sure what to call this.
A vest?
A vest of some sort. Looks like it has detail. You can't even tell if the vest is one piece because of his beard.
Vest. Classic.
A sweater vest. Without arms.
Yeah.
That's key. Cut them off. So that's pretty neat. Who's next?
Dixie Kong.
We think this is Dixie Kong.
Well, it's not Candy.
Yeah, it's not Candy for sure. And I guess, I mean, like, it has a Daisy here, which is kind of throwing me off. I need to relook at her character model, but we assume it's Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dixie wasn't in the first game, though.
She wasn't in the first one. She came in the second game.
And her control was outstanding, though.
Yeah, she could fly with her hair. It was awesome.
Kind of twirls around, which is really cool.
It was extremely helpful.
Yeah, it helps a lot, actually, playing those games. Her eyes are green, so that's pretty cool as well. And she's wearing the shirt, and she does move her arms and her midriff as well, so that's pretty neat. Who's next up? Let's stay with the good ones.
Funky Kong!
Funky! What did he do?
He's the one that flew you around to different worlds.
So he acts like a transportation service. Like you kind of go on a plane, and then it'll take you to different worlds, which is kind of neat. And he really is funky. What's he wearing here? What is this?
He's wearing a bandana. He's got goggles on.
And he's wearing sandals.
Flip-flops.
It's hilarious. If you look at his toes here, I just noticed this with the flip-flops. They're primates. They have 5 toes anyways. And he's got 1 toe that's before where the sandal starts, I guess, at the top. So I guess it's anatomically correct, which is kind of neat. And great detail work on this entire figure. If I didn't mention, these are all stamped with Takara on the bottom and China. It's just kind of hard to see sometimes. So that's kind of neat, but no year anyways on all of them. And let's keep the king for last. So let's go to this guy.
Clump.
Clump. So Clump's pretty cool. Clump's got black shoes on with white laces, it looks like. He's got 5 pouches here to, I guess, do whatever he needs to do. And
his tool belt.
His tool belt, I guess. His midriff does twist, but it is weird, I think, a little bit. I guess he twists around his belt, which makes sense. He's got this belly that kind of looks like he's part ape, part reptile, which is neat.
He's just a little chubby.
Yeah, he's a little chubby. The detail work on this reptile, though, is outstanding. It really does look scaly texture. It's so well done. His tail looks cool, too. And I really like his helmet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a golf ball texture, and he's got these 3 arrows going down. Almost looks like he's part of the military. Really cool figure. This is one of the reasons why I bought the set. He looks really awesome. Next up, we got Crusher.
Crusher.
Now, Crusher's color of skin looks really cool. It's this, like, blue, almost kind of looks like it should be transparent color that looks like it is, like, neon almost. Looks really awesome. And what's he wearing? What do you call this?
I call it an army camo onesie. A nice little jumper.
Army camo onesie with a tank top.
That's what a onesie is.
And a belt.
Yeah.
I mean, some onesies aren't a tank top, but that's pretty cool. Really, really good detail. He's one of my favorites. This guy looks absolutely fantastic. I love his arm cuffs, too. I don't know what to call these.
Again, the most fashionable.
Bracelets?
I would call them nice little bracelets, yeah.
Yeah, he looks absolutely
and that
fantastic.
Hair?
The hair looks awesome. Everything about this guy looks really cool. All right, last up.
King K. Rool.
The king. He's wearing a crown. Really important figure, actually. This figure, a lot of people love. And I already had this one, actually, so I'm probably going to give it to my friend. This one looks so cool. His head moves, and his arms move as well. But his belly's got this, like, again, golf ball kind of texture. He's got a belly button. He's wearing a jewel for his cape, which has detail work on the back. And his crown. Tell me about his crown.
Well, in the game, he actually is, spoilers, the last boss, and he can throw his crown.
So that's kind of neat. It's like an item that he uses. Now, I must say, I really want King K. Rool for Smash Bros. He's probably my main guy that I want for Smash Bros. I don't know how he has never been in the games. I think they should really bring him back full force. It would be really cool, because what other attacks could he do?
He's a good jumper.
He jumps
high. And he's so heavy when he jumps that he knocks things down.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be great.
This guy is absolutely fantastic. His armbands look really cool as well. As opposed to Crushes that are simple, King K. Rools are much more detailed, obviously, because he's the king, and that same detail kind of follows on his crown, too. So this guy is really awesome. If you were picking up any of them, I'd probably pick up this one on its own, because this one looks so cool. And how many times can you see a King K. Rool figurine? It's really hard to find, actually, usually. What's your favorite one?
Oh, it's hard, but I'd have to say Crusher. Look at that onesie. That is fashionable. I really like him. And he's really detailed. Like, even the little, tiny little bits on the onesie is just very detailed. I'm very impressed.
He looks really, really cool.
Scales, it's awesome.
The scales are just... Yeah, you have to see this in person, actually. So it's crazy to spend $20 each on these guys, but I really think it could be worth it. And I really think they maintain their value. I know Amiibo have come out, no other figures exist as well, but as a complete set of 8, this is really cool to own. My personal favorite's probably a split between Crusher and King K. Rool. Those look absolutely fantastic, whereas Donkey Kong kind of looks weird with his death stare. Thank you so much for watching our video of this 8-set Takara figures of Donkey Kong. If you can find them for $20 each, you're doing well. If you can find a full set for something like $160, you're doing okay, because most of the time they're on sale for $40 or $50, which is a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to fill that like bucket. Follow me on all the social media links in the description below the video. And remember, as always, go collect them all and keep smiling while gaming.
Bye!
Thanks for watching.